use computers every day, it's important to consider the benefits. Before proceeding to the discussion of the different keyboard shortcuts, I would just like to state two reasons on why you should be using such shortcuts. So first, it is efficient and time-saving. Using shortcuts makes you more efficient at doing certain tasks on your computer. And the second one is it is good for multitasking. Being a multitasker is sometimes required in life. It's an ability that lets us tick boxes in our to-do list quickly, especially when juggling with dozens of tabs and tools at once. Knowing the right shortcuts allow you to easily navigate your way through these tasks in less time than usual. So now let us proceed to the different shortcuts. So the first one is the first shortcut is control page down. So the page down key is located na siya dapit sa kuan kanang numeric keypad sa kuan kanang babaw sa arrow keys. Pero depende na siya kay na laptop nga walay numeric keypad na uban na naa. So ang functional na shortcut is it allows you to switch between worksheet tabs from left to right. The next one is control page up. The page up key is also located above the arrow keys of a keyboard, specifically above the page down key. Then, kung ang control page down kay switching tabs from left to right, ang control page up kay switching between worksheet tabs from right to left. Next is control shift or plus asterisk or control then asterisk if using dito sa katong number pad. So this shortcut selects the region around the active cell, but it requires that there must be content in the surrounding cells. The next is control home. The home key is found dito gihapon dapit sa kanang page up o page down na keys. So this selects the cell at the beginning of the worksheet or pane. Next one is control N. This shortcut selects the cell at the end of the worksheet. And the next one is, let me move. Next one is when you want to select the cell at an edge of the worksheet, kay imong i-press kay control arrow keys. Then next shortcut is used if you want to enter the current time in a cell. So di na ka ganun mag-type sa time kay you can use this shortcut para mo ma-key in or ma-enter nimo ang current na time. So you just have to press Control Shift then the colon. And then if you want to input the current date, imong i-press kay Control then semicolon. Next one is if you want to display the insert dialog box, imong i-press kay Control Shift and plus. Next shortcut is Control, then minus, then this allows you to display the delete dialog box. Next one is next shortcut is Control, then 1. This display the format cells dialog box. So, kana ako rin sa i-run through ang tanang shortcut, but masabta na ni siya if mo proceed na sa demo. So, ato lang siya i-discuss first. Then if you want to select the entire worksheet, you can just press Control A instead of using the mouse to click and hold it across the whole document. Kay markuan na kayo siya. So hassle na kayo if mag-move pa ka sa mouse. So you just have to press Control A. Then if you want to apply or remove bold formatting, just press Control B. Then if you want to apply or remove italic formatting, that's the next slide. There. Just press Control I. There. And the next shortcut is pretty common, Control C. I think everybody knows that it is for copying. Now, if you want to copy a selected cell, you just have to press Control C. Then, what comes next after copying? Syempre, di ba, pasting. If you want to paste the copied content of a specific cell, you can simply press Ctrl V. Then the next shortcut is Ctrl X, which is used to cut selected cells. So, unlike copying and pasting, which duplicates your cell content, cutting allows you to move content between cells. So, sa copying kay i-copy nimo then i-paste nimo siya sa another cell kay ma-duplicate ang content. So, sa cut kay kanang dili siya ma-duplicate kay since ang katong sa kung asa siya original na cell kay ma-cut man siya or ma-delete then imo i-move sa next na cell or sa other nga cell. So next is Control F. This displays the find and replace dialog box. So instead of kanang mag-scroll down pa ka sa imong worksheet or nakapangitaon, imora na siya i-press ang Control F then i-type nimo kung unsa imong kanang gipangita na kuan nga input. So you just have to press Control F. And now, if you want to display the insert hyperlink or edit hyperlink dialog box, just press Ctrl K. If you want to create a new workbook without using the mouse, press Ctrl N and then a new workbook will be opened. Now, if you want to close an open workbook, just press Ctrl W. So, if nakagi-open na new workbook ay Ctrl N, then if imo to siya ganan i-close kay Ctrl W. Then next shortcut is Control O, which allows you to display the open tab on the backstage view. And then if you want to print or display the print tab on the backstage view, just press Control P. And the next shortcut is, I think everyone knows this or kanang it's already pretty common. Okay, if you want to save the file as it is without changing the file name, okay, imo ay ganahan i-save ang changes, okay, just press Control S. Next is Control Y or F4 when the insertion point is not in the formula bar. This shortcut is to repeat the last action or command if possible. And next, kay Control Z is used when you want to undo the last command or action. And if you want to redo the last undo, just press Control Y. The next shortcut is Control plus Enter. It is used to enter data in a cell while keeping it the active cell. And next, kay this shortcut allows you to select all contiguously populated cells in a column from the selected cell to the end of the range. Okay, you just have to press Control Shift niya up arrow key or down arrow key. Then next shortcut kay sa katong previous one kay column man. So ang kaning next kay if you want to select all populated cells in a row, so you just have to press Control Shift right arrow key and left arrow key. Then, next shortcut is F4. This is used to toggle among relative, absolute, and mixed references when the insertion point is in or next to a cell reference in the formula bar. I will explain this further in the workbook demo after the discussion. So, next shortcut is F12. This opens the Save As dialog box. If you want to change the file name of your file, save as then. Lastly, if you want to activate the Tell Me text box, you just have to press Alt Q. And now, okay, proceed sa workbook demo. Wait a second. Nakita ang screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So, ang first shortcut kay katong control page down, which allows you to switch between worksheet tabs from left to right. So if you click control, then page down. So as you can see from sheet 1, na-proceed ko sa sheet 2. So, yeah. If you want to go back to sheet 1, so kanang imo switch tabs from right to left, control page up. So as you can see, from sheet 2, na-move siya or na-transfer to sheet 1. So again, control page down from left to right, and then control page up kay right to left. There. Yeah, next kay katong control shift and asterisk. This selects the region around the active cell. Yeah, it requires that there must be content in the surrounding cells. So control shift and asterisk. So as you can see, ang cells nga kuan na content kay na-select siya. So mo na siya. So diri man to ang active cells sa cell A1. So pag control asterisk or control shift plus asterisk kay na-select ang mga katong cell nga na content. And next kay if you want to select the cell at the beginning of the worksheet kay press control home. So as you can see, ang na-select or ang active cell kay cell A1. So mo na siya ang beginning sa worksheet. So control home. Yeah, if you want to select this at the end of the worksheet, kay press Control N. So as you can see, na siya diri sa cell J45 here. Mo na siya ang end sa worksheet. Then next kay this shortcut kay select the cell at an edge of the worksheet. So imong i-press kay control arrow keys either katong up or left, right or down. So atong i-select ang edge sa so control then arrow keys. So ang edge sa worksheet kay na diri sa kaning cell XFD1. Then sa bottom edge niya kay mo na siya. Then mo na ang edges sa worksheet. The next arito sa select tawag sa for the next shortcut. So ang kaning nga shortcut kay insert the current time daw. So imong i-press kay control shift and colon. So as you can see, it's already 10:48 a.m. So na-input na siya without typing the current time. So imo rang gi-input or gi-press ang control shift and colon para moderitso na siya o kuan sa current time. Now next kay ang current date. So imong i-press kay control then semicolon. So there today is May 5, 2021. Last so na siya dili na ka mag-type sa kuan imo rang i-press ang control colon. Then next shortcut is control shift plus. As you can see, the insert dialog box kay ni appear siya. Mo na dira ang option sa shift cells right, cells down, or entire row and entire column. Nakita ro sa screen? Hello?
Guys, please participate if being asked. Yes, first we can see it.
Okay. So the next one is to display the delete dialog box. So control then minus. There na ang delete na dialog box. So you can select what cells or row or column to delete. And the next one is display the format cells dialog box. So press Control 1. Yeah, mo appear din ang format cells dialog box na dira ang number formatting, alignment, font, border, fill, and protection. So, mana siya control plus 1. Yeah, if you want to select the entire worksheet, you just have to press Control A. So as what I've said earlier, instead of kanang dragging the mouse, imo pa siya i-manual og select kay hassle na siya. Then so if kanang you press Control A, kay automatic na siya mo select sa entire worksheet. Then so select ang entire worksheet. Ang next nga shortcut kay if you want to apply or remove bold formatting, press Control B. So Control B. As you can see na ang mga text sa cells kay na bold siya. Then if you want to remove bold formatting, kay press again Control B. There. And then the next one, kay if you want to apply or remove italic formatting, press Control I. So you can see na italic na ang text sa cells. Then if you want to remove italic formatting, press again Control I. Yeah, next, kay if you want to copy the selected cells, Control C. So for example, kani siya. Kaning current, kaning time and date. So copy, Control C. Then next, kay if you want to paste it somewhere, for example here, press Control V. And that's it. Na-paste. Now, if you want to cut, unlike, di ba, unlike copying and pasting ang cut, kay imo siya dili siya ma-duplicate. So, for example, ato ni cut, Control X. Control, wait, ato sa ni delete. So, if ato ni siya i-cut, yeah, i-move na to somewhere, here, nawala, na-transfer. So, sa copying kay na-duplicate ang content. So, sa cutting kay dili siya ma-duplicate, nga ma-move siya kung asa nimo ganahan i-transfer ang kato na content sa cell. Then next kay, if you want to display the find and replace dialog box, kay Control F. There. Yeah. Di ba, for example, if kanang imo ipangita like unsa na items ang gikuan sa kanina region. So, for example, pencil. Search. Dira, manggawas na ng mga results. Kanang active cell na sa D10. Nana dira. Manggawas. Sa find and replace na dialog box. Then, if you want to display or edit hyperlink dialog box, Control K. So, nadra ang insert hyperlink or imo edit ang mga imong ipang-insert na hyperlink. Yeah, next shortcut kay if you want to create a new workbook, press Control N. So, nata sa kaning file name nga C keyboard shortcut. So, if you want to create a new workbook, kay press Control N. Control N. So, as you can see, na-open siya og another nga workbook, which is kaning book 3. So, na-open. The next shortcut, kay if you want to close an open workbook, kay press Control W. So, na-close, nabalik siya sa keyboard shortcut. Then, next, kay if you want to display the open tab on the backstage view, kay press Control O. Wait, sa akin nag-log. So, there. Nadira ang open tab. So, reset, nadira ang tanan options. Then, if you want to display the print tab on the backstage view, kay press Control P. So, mo na siya. If you want to print pila ka copies, then unsa na, then money ang isura sa kanang mga content sa Excel kung imo i-print. The next kay, if you want to save the file as it is, niya wala right changes sa yang file name or kay Control S. So, na-save na to siya. Then, if you want to repeat the last action or command, if possible, kay Control Y or F4. Then, ang next, kay if you want to undo the last command or action, kay Control Z. So, Control Z. So, as you can remember, ang last command or action nga kanang akong gibuhat kay katong cutting. So, from cell K10 and 11, kinabalik siya. So, to I, 5, and 6. So, man to siya na undo niya. If you want to redo the last undo, kay Control Y. So, nabalik na po siya. And next, kay Control Enter. If you want to enter data in a cell while keeping it the active cell, so Control Enter. So, maka-enter na din kag data dra sa G10, for example. Mano siya ang time. Na, Control Enter na po, and date. Yeah. Next, kay Control Shift plus up arrow or down arrow if you want to select all contiguously populated cells in a column from the selected cell to the end of the range. So, Control Shift down. Control Shift down. O, na-select na ang populated cells within the column. So, balik na. Next one, kay if you want to select populated cells in a row, kay Control Shift, nga left or right arrow. So, since naman ta sa edge active cell kaning A1, so atong Control Shift nga right. So, na-select ang wait. Control Shift, then Ari lang ta sa order date para ma-appeal siya diretso dito sa sales tax. So, Control Shift, then right arrow. So, na-select ang mga populated cells within the row, which is from cell A2 up to kaning H2. Yeah, next one is toggle among relative, absolute, and mixed references when the insertion point is in or next to a cell reference in the formula bar. So, press F4. So, for demonstration purposes, kaya ako siya gi-insertan og isa ka column there, which is the sales tax. So, as you can see, in cell A1, naa there ang tax rate niya. Sa B1, kay pila ang rate. So, for example, here sa sales tax, let's just say, for example, ang kaning tax rate kay kuan mo na siyang sales tax rate. So, in cell H3, kay para makuha ang sales tax, kay ang total times tax rate nga na diri sa B1. So, mo na siya G3 niya times B1. So, for example, if you want to do it manually, kay kuan mo, i-input pa nimo like equals kani nga times there is a B1. So, enter. Then, if you, para dili na ka maglisod kay laim sa kayo tagsa-tagsaon nimo, so time consuming kayo, then we wanted to be efficient man. So, kanang imo i-press ang F4 para makopy siya. So, ato i-buhat B1, then press F4. So, as you can see, nanay dollar symbol ang kaning kuan sa B1. So, that means nga kanang na-reference na siya. So, enter. Then, if imo na i-drag up until sa katong kinaubsan, kay sunod na ang format or ang formula sa kaning cell. So, that's it. Okay, nag-referencing naman siya nga ang i-multiply sa kaning total kay kaning man na tax rate. So, instead of kanang typing it one by one, kay i-press na lang F4 ni kakuha mo sa formula kay para madiretso na siya. So, as you can see, dali ra kay siya din. Next, kay if you want to open the save as dialog box, kay press F12. Nag-loading. There. So, open na ang save as nga dialog box. So, for example, ato siyang i-rename into Microsoft Excel 16 shortcuts. 16 keyboard shortcuts. Then enter. So, as you can see, diri sa title bar kay na-change na ang file name. Then, lastly, kay if you want to activate the Tell Me text box, kay press Alt Q. Then here, mo then i-search if, example, you want to apply bold formatting there, siya bold. O, na bold na siya. And that's it for my report. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, guys. So mag-share lang ko og kanang pre-recorded video kay mag-log mo ng laptop. Makita ra ninyo? Ako gi-share.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. I am Victoria Venice Borgonia, and today I am going to discuss Appendix D financial functions. So, from the past discussions, some groups have already discussed the different functions of Excel, like logical functions and date and time functions. So, kay financial function man ni siya, then most likely, kanang finance and accounting professionals ang mogamit ani. This is very useful kay ang mga functions ani kay ato nang naagyan sa atong accounting subjects in which we are given a problem and we manually calculate it. So pohon-pohon kung maka-work na ta, I suppose most of us in here will work sa field of finance and accounting, magamit yun tani ng mga functions. So actually, Excel has 50 plus financial functions but dili man nato sila mo sa usa. So then we are going to discuss some of the more commonly used financial functions like FV, IPMT, IRR, and PER, and PV, PMT, PPMT, and PV functions, in which I will discuss each of these as we go on with the discussion. And so just a reminder at the eye, for all the arguments, the cash you pay out, such as deposits to savings, it is represented by negative numbers, but the cash you receive, such as dividend checks, is represented by positive numbers. So basically, when you pay out a cash, kanang magpagawas kag kwarta, kay bayran, you will put a negative sign sa amount. But if you receive a cash, it is represented by the positive sign. So first, the FV function, short for future value function. This will calculate the future value of an investment with fixed periodic payments and fixed rate. So as you can see sa iyahang syntax, na argument nga na naka-bracket. So we know naman that these bracketed arguments are the optional ones. The first three are the required arguments while the last two are optional. So let's first discuss the required arguments. Rate is the interest rate per period. So keep in mind that in using rate to some other financial functions, it is important to be specific about the period here. And what do I mean by that? So kung imong rate is 10%, yeah, payments are to be made monthly, so you have to divide first the 10% to 12. But if it is an annual payment, leave 10% as it is. So kung for example pod kanang quarterly, divide the rate to 4. Next is NPER, which means number of periods from now which you wish to calculate your future value. And PMT is the payment for each period nga kaning naa sa NPER. So remember that periods should go with the rate. So if you are to pay every month for 20 years, then NPER should be 12 months times 20 years, which is equal to 240. Pero kung annually siya, then leave 12 as it is sa NPER. So ano ra ni siya? Kung pila yung i-divide sa rate, most na imong multiply sa NPER. So if you divide 4 sa rate kay quarterly payment siya, then you will multiply 4 sa imong NPER, sa imong period. Also, note that although PMT is required, that's not exactly true. For example, wala ra kay additional contribution sa imuhang investment, then you can just leave blank sa PMT and put a value to your PV. And speaking of PV, this is the present value of the investment. You will use this argument to determine the future value of a lump sum investment into a fixed rate asset. And lastly, type mo ni siya kung kanus ka mobayad in a particular period. So kung sa end of the period ka mobayad, then your type is 0. However, kung mobayad ka at the beginning of the period, then type is 1. If wala sad kay ibutang nga value, like for example, wala regi state sa problem, Excel will treat it as 0. So let's have an example. Assume we need to buy a car and are saving for it. The target is to buy it in 1 year. There is $10,000 in our bank account as savings. The bank pays 5% interest on our savings account. Our goal is to add $2,000 for the next 12 months into the account. Let's calculate the amount we would have at the end of the year to purchase the car. So first thing you need to do is type in the given data. I suggest in order lang siya based sa kaning atong syntax. So rate and PER, PMT, PV, and then type. So first is rate man, which is 5%, 5%, but again, remember it is to be paid monthly man daw. So here for the next 12 months. So you will divide it to 12. And the next is the NPER. So nag-divide man ka og 12 sa imuhang rate. So mag-times pud kag 12 sa imuhang NPER. So it states here nga the target is to buy it in 1 year. So ang period ni mga 1 is imo siyang times into 12. And then next, imong contribution nga $2,000 kay ibutang na nimo sa PMT, as I have mentioned a while ago, and ang present value nga $10,000 kay mo na imong lump sum investment. So these two, kay nagpagawas mo kag kwarta, you paid out a cash, imo na siyang butangan og negative sign. So for PMT, negative $2,000. And then for present value, negative $10,000. And so, kay kani nga problem, wala man siya ging kumubayad siya at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month, then wala ra na siya. Okay ra na siya nga blank because it is just an optional argument. So, as I have mentioned a while ago, Excel will treat it as 0. So, let's calculate. Equals FV, open parenthesis, kanin, gawasan ni sila. Rate, and then your NPER, PMT, your PV, and wala man kay type. So, pwede ra na siya nga wala ra kay butang. So, you will get this as your FV. And then, so, next function is IPMT. So, kani siya nga function, later na nako siya discuss together with PMT and PPMT kay kana silang tulo related ra man na sila. So, move on sa next function. Okay. So, kanina function, I believe quite familiar na ni sa uban nato diri nga nakaagi og katong sa atong accounting subject. IRR, which is short for internal rate of return, means imong rate of return for all your projected cash flows. So, di na kayo ta mag-discuss unsa gyud ni siya. Also, cash flows must occur at regular intervals such as monthly or annually. As you can see, sa iyang syntax, duha ra ka argument. And then the required argument, which is value, is muna siya ang value sa imong cash flows. And lastly, the only optional argument, which is guess, muna siya ang number that you guess is close to the result of internal rate of return. If omitted or you leave it as blank, Excel will treat it as 10%. Okay, so example. So for example, assume we are given this data. So kani siya, kani sila, mo ni siya ang imuhang values. So sa initial cost, as you've noticed, negative siya because payment man ni siya pagkawas kag kwarta. While kaning mga net income for 5 years, positive values jud sila kay net income man siya unless it is a net loss. So type in na ta sa atong formula. Plus IRR, open parenthesis, the values, and then wala may guess, so Excel will treat it as 10%. And that's how you get your IRR. Okay, so next financial function is this one, the number of periods. So this function helps calculate the number of periods that are required to pay off a loan or reach an investment goal through regular periodic payments and at a fixed interest rate. So basically, ang pasabot niya kay pila ka periods maka-pay off fully sa imong loan or pila ka periods para ma-reach na nimo nga investment goal. The required arguments are as follows: the rate, PMT, and PV. Optional arguments are FV and type. Basically, kani sila maura jud dig meaning sa akong mga gidiscuss ganiha nga mga arguments. So I hope na absorb ra sa inyo ang akong gipang explain. Remember lang yun nga if annual siya, divide the rate to 12. Kung semi-annual, divide it by 2. Kung quarterly, divide it by 4. So kung kung monthly, divide by 12. And kung annually, leave the rate as it is. So I think good rata for workbook ani nga function. Okay, so let's assume we need $50,000 and a loan will be given to us at a 5% interest rate with a monthly payment of $500. Let's now calculate the number of periods required to repay the loan. So, pangitaon do nato pila ka periods ta magbayad para maka-fully pay ta sa atong loan nga $50,000 given that it is to be paid monthly. So, si rate nga 5%, i-divide na to by 12. And then, PMT of negative 500. And PV of $50,000. So, dili siya negative because mo man yung giloan, you receive it. Okay? And then, so calculate na dayon ta sa atong NPER. So, equals NPER, the parenthesis, your rate, comma, your PMT, and comma, your PV. So, lastly, the type which was not stated if beginning bar or end of the period. So, okay ra na siya nga wala right tay ibutang because again, Excel will treat it as 0. Okay, so kani ang NPER 129.63 or around 130 periods ka magbayad, 130 months. So, next function is the NPV function or the net present value nga familiar pod sa uban nato dire. The NPV function calculates the net present value of an asset or an investment given the estimated or known future cash flows and the discount rate per period. This has only two arguments, which are the rate and the values. Rate here is the discount rate per period and values kay imuhang future cash flows. And also here, period must be fixed and cash flows must occur at the end of each period. So for example, we are given this kaning data. Again, initial cost must be negative because you paid out cash man. So to calculate, equals NPV, parenthesis, your rate or discount rate, comma, and then the values. And that's it. So, ang next nga function to discuss is PMT. So, later na ni siya. And also PPMT later na. Okay. So, this one. PV or present value calculates the present value of a loan or an investment based on a constant interest rate. So, i-calculate daw ani nga function kung pila ang value sa future payments nimo sa karon, which is the present time. The arguments in this function are the same with the future value. So, yung syntax kay the same ra gyud siya sa future value. Actually, guys, kabalik-balik ra gyud ni ang mga arguments diri ng mga functions. So if you just listen to my discussion kaniha ng mga functions, dali ra gini mo madumduman unsay role ani na specific argument. So required arguments in this function are again rate and PER or number of periods, PMT or payment nimo sa period which cannot change over the life of the annuity. And the optional arguments are the FV or future value, and if omitted siya, Excel will treat it as 0. Lastly, ang type, 0 if due at the end of the period and 1 if due at the beginning of the period. So let's have an example. Okay. So see, iyahang syntax is just the same with future value. Okay, we have an annuity that makes periodic payments of $5,000 every quarter for 5 years with a 10% interest rate. Payments are made at period beginning. The setup would be as follows. Okay, so this one, it is to be paid every quarter for 5 years man daw. So rate therefore would be 10% divided by 4 kay quarterly payments man, which which gives you the number of periods by 5 times 4 also. And then your also this time finally given a good ang type nimo which is kaning at period beginning. So beginning of the period daw. So imong type is 1. And also kay annuity man ni siya, ang payment diri is not negative but positive. So it's positive 5,000. Hala, 1. So let's calculate. Equals PV, your rate, and PER, your PMT, and your optional argument na kani type. So, kani mong PV. And then, we are now down to our last 3 functions which happen to be related to each other. So, ato ni siyang i-discuss as one before tamo ato sa workbook. So, first is IPMT. IPMT. Okay. So, IPMT, this calculates pilang interest nimo sa particular period. Interest rajud ni siya alone and walay labot ang principal. So, sa arguments niya, ang wala ra na ako na-discuss among them from the past katong mga gipang ingon ako ganiha nga mga function is kaning iyahang required argument nga PER or the period for which you wish to calculate the interest. For example, dapat ka mo bayad monthly on a 4-year investment, then ang per value ni mo, anak niya kay nara na siya in between 1 to 48. Why 48? So remember the NPER rule nga if monthly payment siya, so 4 years times 12 months. And karon, for example, you wish to calculate the interest rate for the first month of year 2, so mo na siyang particular period, then imuhang PER value is 13. Year 2 naman, so niagi na ang 12 months plus 1 month which is the first month of year 2. That will give us a per value of 13. And the rest of the arguments kaning rate and PER and PV muna na siya akong na-discuss kaniha. Again, pareho na sila og mini sa PPMT. Okay. So this one naman is the principal payment of the loan. So ganiha interest payment man karon principal na. The same ra sila og argument sa IPMT. So move on na ta sa last function which is the PMT. So kung hatagan ganitag shotgun problem and required to calculate the IPMT, PPMT, and PMT, i-add na nato ang value sa IPMT o PPMT and then ang sum ana niya is mo na ang PMT. So ngano man, di ba interest plus principal mo man na imuhang payment. So sa syntax niya ang wala rang argument between atong nga two functions katong IPMT ug PPMT is kaning PER. Wala siya PER kay maskin unsa pa na nga period 13 unsa pa na siya diha from 1 to 48 fixed payment na jud na siya. Ang mo differ gyud nga amounts no is ang IPMT and PPMT. Okay, so mag-example ta. Given here is a 10,000 loan which is to be paid off in full after 5 years. Interest is charged at a rate of 3% per year and the payment of the loan is to be made at the end of each month. Calculate the first month of the second year. Okay, so para madali, ibutang na ang data sa arguments. So monthly payments man, rate of 3% should be divided to 12. And PER kay 5 years man daw. Okay, so paid off in full after 5 years man daw. So 5 equals 5 times kung pila ang imuhang gi-divide aning rate. So 5 times 12. Okay, so diri pod ani nila nga mga 3% divided by 12. And here, number of payments, 5 times 12. Rate, 3% divided by 12. And number of payments nga, 5 times 12. Okay, so ang iyang period is 13 because in here, ningon man siya nga, calculate the first month of the second year. So, first month of the second year man, so 12 months plus 1 month. So, period nimo is 13. Also here, period nimo is 13. Ang wala ray per nga function, wala ray per nga arguments among the three functions is the PMT. And lastly, present value of 10,000, which should be negative. Adi pa di siya last, kinapay type. So, negative 10,000. Here also, negative 10,000. Related or gina silang tulo. So, kung shotgun problem gani, pwede rin ninyo siya ay ganion. And lastly, the type, which is 0 kay, ingon siya dire, the loan is to be made at the end of each month. So, 0 kay end man. 0 and then 0. Okay, so let's calculate na. Equals IPMT, in parenthesis, your rate, your PR, your NPR, your present value, and then kay wala mo siya FV, type ang sunod na optional argument naman ang FV. And then PPMT na sad equals PPMT. Your rate, PR and PR, your present value, and then your type. Lastly, kaning PMT. PMT, rate, number of payments, and then present value, and then your type. That's it. So, nganong related siya? So, ha. If you add the values of IPMT and your PPMT, ang result ana niya is kaning naa sa PMT. So, maskin unsa pa na nga period ang imong ibutang diri as long as the same ang IPMT ug PPMT, interest ug ang principal, mao gid na siya og value sa imuhang PMT because fixed naman ni siya. Fixed payment naman. Mao bitong wala siya PER because the period in here doesn't matter. Okay, so for example, period 4 daw ta. Tag period 4 here. And then here also, period 4. See? It's just the same. So, that ends my discussion for Appendix D, financial functions. Thank you for listening and good day.
Nako, sir. Nako, guys. Thank you.
All right. Who's next for Victoria?
Hello, sir.
Bea. We don't have much time, Bea, so we could have we need to ano na lang continue this next meeting. I think we can finish group 6 by next meeting. So please keep posted with the schedules, guys, so we can wrap up this discussion for the group 6, and then we can have an activity. So we can focus and give time siguro by next week to have more on hands-on activities so that we can apply what we've learned. We can practice what we've learned with the presentation of our classmates and with the resources that what we have now, so we can apply it. Uh, for today, we will stop from the functions lang, katong logical functions nga shared ni Victoria. So we will continue next meeting. So thank you everyone for joining for today, and I'll see you next meeting.